Hi, it's Gretchen again. I'd like to welcome you to Practice Partners Collective. What we're going to talk about in this video is how the collective helps to build a consulting presence without building a business from scratch, also known as business in a box. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the technology side of it. I know some people may have no interest and other people may have interest in how we actually do this. So the foundation of the technology side of the collective is technology platforms that build confidence. So when you go out and you're selling your consulting services, or you're applying to speak at a conference, or someone contacts you about doing a website, not a website, a webinar, you want to have confidence in where you're sending them to learn about you. And this is built on systems that I've spent years figuring out how to do to present a sustainable professional presence. So I'm kind of handing you a blueprint of how you can do it. So the foundation of the technology is a Squarespace website. So Squarespace is one of the industry leaders in very sophisticated websites for small businesses, particularly for consultants. So what does that website look like? Well, if you've gone to the website, and that may be how you came to our YouTube channel, you've gotten a sense of what that website looks like. It's very simple and very preliminary because it's just hosted on the back end of my own website. But, of course, we'll have a vision, mission, and values page created by the founding members. We're also going to have a compelling story of why the collective exists, and something that, as we talked about in what it means to be a part of the community, a collective story has far more power in it than often individual stories. An individual story of like, well, I retired and I got bored, so I thought I'd start a consulting business. That's not a very compelling story. Or, hey, my kid's going to college, I need some extra income, so I started a consulting business. That's not a very compelling story. To tell the story of people who are so concerned about what's happening in education that we came together and founded this collective, that's a story worth listening to in a different way. One of the big features of the collective website for each partner is a customized professional profile page. And there's a whole short video that explains what that is. But the beauty of this and the way Squarespace works and the way technology works is that this can function as your website. So let's say you own your domain name, right? Like I own GretchenMartins.com. Let's pretend I didn't have a website, but I have my domain name. There's a very simple process called redirect, where we can log into wherever your domain is hosted and do a very simple redirect to your page. And it's basically an instantaneous process. And then anyone that goes to like johnsmith.com goes to that page. And we talked in a different video about how you can have business cards printed. So you can have a business card printed that says www.johnsmith.com, and that points to your page on the collective. And it's actually a really interesting way to get found because they find your page and then they're like, wait a minute, what's this collective? And then they discover that it's not just you hanging out a shingle, you're part of this whole group that's doing amazing work. And so it just positions you in a very different way. The other thing is that, and if you look at the profile page, it's fictitious. It's very complete. And you might look at that and go, oh my gosh, like I don't have all of that. Well, I'm a professionally trained coach with 25 years of experience, and I'm super good at ferreting out skills and abilities and superpowers that people don't even realize they have. So rest assured, that is handled for you. The other thing is that cross content is cross-posted. That helps to build website visibility in terms of SEO and your own visibility. So let's say that you have white papers or you have a recorded audio file from or video file from a conference you were at. That's posted on your personal page. It's also posted on collective resource pages. And the homepage typically features, like listen to the latest whatever, read the latest whatever. There will be a blog page. And that's very basic. Write a blog page. That's not a big deal. Blogs are typically 200 to 400 pages words long. But imagine being part of this collective. Imagine that we get 25 people, which is what we feel is our maximum number to not have it be so big that people don't actually know each other. Now imagine 25 people that once a month write a blog post. Well, by the end of the year, that's 300 blog posts, as opposed to you having your own website and you're writing a blog post every single day, right? So this is the way that volume and the collective starts to really make an impact in visibility. There's a Meet the Team page. It's pretty lame right now because I left the stock images. But this functions as a speakers bureau. So the pictures will eventually be clickable to your page. But someone coming who has a podcast, who is looking for speakers for a conference, can go and they can skim all of the specialties that you have. And they can click and learn more about you right there. And that's one of the ways that we're going to be marketing out the website as a whole. And then the other thing is that the site is SEO optimized to be found. And that's like a super wonky long story. But again, it's the power of community. So everybody contributing in a consistent way creates more and more and more LinkedIn volume. And even just having 25 members plus all of the other pages, the website from the get-go has probably 35 pages. That's really good from a Google search engine visibility perspective. But there's more than just the basic Squarespace technology. And one of the reasons that I decided to use Squarespace in my own business is that integrates technology really, really, really well. So there's an Acuity integration, which is, and I did a lot of research behind each of these because I'm super nerdy. But Acuity allows each member of the collective to have their own online scheduling. And that you can use that in things not related to the collective. So if you've ever tried to schedule a meeting with someone and they're like, are you free on Tuesday? No, I'm not free on Tuesday, but I could do Wednesday. No, I'm not free on Wednesday. How's Thursday? Thursday's great. What about Thursday afternoon? I can do one. Well, I can't do one. Could you do? And all of a sudden it's 8 emails just to get a single appointment scheduled. So this is, and if you want to connect with me, or you just want to see how this works, on the website, I have a thing, schedule an appointment with Gretchen. You click on a link, you can see all of the times I'm available, and you just book yourself in and you show up on my calendar. So this can be integrated to your calendar. You can set your hours. So let's say you're a principal and you work from 8 to 4 every day. Then those times can be blocked off as not available. So, and then in the future, right now, you have to go to the enterprise level of Acuity, which is very expensive, and I don't think we need it right now. But let's say a year from now, people are really doing a lot of workshops and they're booking coaching packages and all of that. Then we can move up to an enterprise level Acuity scheduling such that all of that payment can go directly to you. So part of the glitch right now is that you can only have one payment connection, right? So if we have 25 members, we can't have that connected to 25 different accounts. But with enterprise level, you can. MailChimp. So this is a place I did a lot of research because there's so many different email platforms out there. But basically, any appointments that you're scheduling in Acuity, if you have downloads of white papers on your professional profile page, all of those are captured by emails, which are then tagged to you. So let's say that you have a white paper that summarizes the findings from your dissertation. And I come and I see your profile and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'd love to read her white paper. I have to enter my email, Gretchen Martins, Gretchen@GretchenMartins.com. I have to fill out a CAPTCHA. And then there's a sequence of emails that come. So then I get an email on my inbox that says, hey, thanks for downloading Charlene's, white paper. And I can click and I can download that. But my email is captured, and in that back end process, it's captured as white paper. It's captured as your name. Let's say you're Charlene Jones. And so it also becomes a way to really understand where is the engagement in the website. Maybe no one's really watching our YouTube channel and everyone's downloading white papers. So this is really good information. But the other thing that really seemed to resonate with Chris is, let's say a year, 2 years from now, things are going really well, or you retire and you say, this isn't just a side hustle. This is going to be my main thing. You own your list. And what that means is there are back-end ways, both in Acuity and MailChimp, that I can download anything associated with you. So if we have, Fred Anderson, you don't get his information, but you get all of your information. So if you're going out on your own, you start with a list because these are all the people that connected with you through the collective. And this is actually fairly unique in the marketplace. There are a lot of places where, you can put up your profile. And again, there's a video that walks you through how we're doing that in a very, very meticulous way. But you throw up your own profile. You don't know if it really is, written to be SEO optimized. People visit you. Maybe they download something. You don't get to keep that data. That's the organization's data. And I just think that's wrong. So anyway, that's like a good thing to tuck away. Buffer, again, this was highly researched, does automation for social media posts. So this is looking at how we do, and there's a separate video on the LinkedIn strategy. But basically, you can automate LinkedIn posts. So that's nice, I'm the one doing that, or eventually I may hire an assistant. But you can program them. Let's say that you're like, hey, the week of October 12th, I want to do a series of LinkedIn posts that are also posted to the collective's business page. We can set that up far in advance. Let's say that you have a book coming out, or an article is coming out in a journal. But again, you own your content. So this is super, super nerdy. But let's say after a year or two, you want to go out on your own. Maybe you want to keep your membership in the collective. Maybe you don't. So let's say that you don't, or both and, it doesn't matter either way. You can create your own buffer account. You link your LinkedIn to your buffer account, and it populates all of the things that have been posted on your behalf over the time that you've been with the collective. A year, 2 years, 5 years, it's all there. And so then once we know that's populated, I disconnect and you own all your content. And where this matters, and again, it's like nerd alert, there's something in marketing called evergreen content. So evergreens are always green. Evergreen content is content that's always relevant. So what I'm doing in my own business, I just released a book and I'm doing excerpts from that. And every time I post an excerpt, and I have my own reasons for doing LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram, it goes out to all three platforms. And then I go back, and there's a back end way to save those posts as recurring. So by the end of a calendar year, 365 days minus however many days I've been doing this, I'm going to have an entire year worth of evergreen content. That means if I go on vacation, I get sick, I forget, somebody dies, my content keeps going out. So Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn is like, wow, she's super consistent with her posting. And for LinkedIn, that is the algorithm. LinkedIn cares, well, and so does Instagram, do you engage? So this is something that, again, becomes a very important asset for you. So yeah, nerd alert, nerd alert. Then there are what I call allied platforms, things that can also support the collective. And these are really easy to start up if you know what you're doing. And the question is, what are people going to be interested in? But we already have a YouTube channel. So you may or may not know that YouTube is the second most popular search engine after Google. So it's becoming a really, really important place to be found. But again, it takes time. So again, imagine that we reach 25 members of the collective, and every member of the collective posts one video a quarter. By the end of the year, that's 100 videos. If people post every month, quick do the math, that's 400 videos, right? That's a lot of, 300 videos. That's a lot of video content that none of us could do individually because, hello, we're not 22-year-old influencers. We're people actually engaging in work in the world. Podcast, super easy to set up, super easy to get going. The big challenge for podcasters, and it's one of the reasons like so many people have encouraged me to do a podcast, the problem is consistency. And so, again, you think 25 people. Let's say that there's someone who's super enthusiastic. Oh my gosh, I've always wanted to do an education podcast. For the first year, your guests are booked in because there are 25 of us. And you just keep cycling, everyone does 2 interviews with you and you're done. There's also a format I've been watching on CNN where Anderson Cooper interviews celebrities about grief, right? So that's been very popular. It can be a podcast. It could also be part of YouTube. And then there's another version on CNN, which is more lifestyle. And I don't watch them, but I've seen the ads where they just put two celebrities together in a room and it's called something like Two Celebrities Talking, right? So it can be also as simple as, hey, I just want to get together with three people who have expertise in how we support our English language learners. I want to bring four people together for a panel discussion on how we do equity focused learning better, right? So there's so many different options that don't put a big burden on any one person. And then the other obvious one is Substack. Again, super easy. Yes, it's great to be in jury journals, extremely expensive, extremely difficult to get accepted. Non-jury journals, still sometimes expensive, still a long wait. So I follow Heather Cox Richardson on Substack, and I've actually done research into how she built her Substack because she's now one of the top producing Substacks in the world. And I love her to death, but the reality is she's about my age. And she does these just super schlumpy. She's recently hired someone clearly, and she's upping her game. But it used to be until a month or two ago, she's in her office, in a kitchen, I think she lives in Maine. There's an old map. Sometimes it's askew. She doesn't wear any makeup. Sometimes she's just wearing like a pullover fleece jacket, no pretense. And she's brilliant. And in 6 years, she's built one of the top ranked Substacks. And it's estimated that she earns $2 million a year with her subscriptions to that Substack. So looking at this group of educators, it's, collectively, like she literally writes and records videos every single night, right? This is what she does. But how many of us have the time and the like content flowing out to do that? So this way, if everyone in the collective wrote one Substack a week, wrote two Substacks a year, that's an entire year of content, weekly content right there. If people wrote twice a quarter, or anyway, you get the math. So those are the other allied platforms. So could you do this yourself? Absolutely. And I think that's really important to say because there's so many people out there, and they're like out there shilling. Oh, you can't do this without me because what they want is your money. Chris and I are building a community. And yes, there's some cost to it. But I don't want to pretend you couldn't do this yourself. It's just it would take a lot of money and it would take a lot of your time, and you'd have a lot of catching up to do to build a website, integrate Acuity, MailChimp, LinkedIn, YouTube channel, Substack, podcast, monthly newsletter, and you'd have to go learn branding and marketing and content strategy, and that's a lot. And what I hear so much from people is, I just want to do the work. And I totally get that. It just so happens in the context of me doing the work as a solo practitioner scholar for 20 some years, I've had to learn all this because I'm not a multimillionaire and I just couldn't afford to pay someone to do it. So anyway, I'm taking my system and saying, here, let me build this for the collective. So yes, you could do this yourself. It just would be really, really different. So again, it's that final question of imagine what becomes possible when you pursue your work in community. So here's the bit.ly for the Practice Partners Collective. It is a placeholder website that lives on the back end of my website. An easier way to find it is to go to scholarscoach.com, and there's a tab that says the collective, and that'll get you there as well. If you want to schedule a conversation with me on the website, there is a tag to do that. If you're like, oh my gosh, I've watched these videos, it sounds great, you can sign a founding member commitment pledge from the website. You can also download, I think it's about 8 pages of bullet points that really list all of the aspects of the collective. So lovely to talk to you. Thank you for listening, and I hope you'll decide to join the collective.